Hello, welcome back to Simon's Rants, and welcome to the annual horror fest that is seeing my face without a full beard to hide my double chin. Yes, I know it looks bad, that's the point, let's move on. Well, that was a movie. Today we're going to be talking about Happiest Season, which is the new rom-com Christmas movie on Hulu. It was written and directed by Clea Duvall, it's starring Mackenzie Davis and Kristen Stewart. In case you don't already know the plot of this film, it follows a woman and her girlfriend as they go home to visit her parents for Christmas. But it's a very sensitive situation as they don't already know that they are gay, and they're not really open to that idea. It's a very typical rom-com that borrows a lot from a lot of different movies, but surprisingly makes it work in its own way. Maybe it's just the Christmas spirit in me, but I enjoyed this movie. It's not the best movie ever or anything, it's not gonna win any Oscars, but it was actually pretty enjoyable. It's predictable, it's cliche, it's cheesy, it's cringy, but the acting in this movie was actually so good that it kind of elevated the rest of the movie. I think I'm already on record saying this, but in case I'm not, I'm going on record now to say that Kristen Stewart is a good actor in my opinion. She's gotten crap her whole career for her performance in Twilight, and I get it, she was awful in that, but everything about those movies was awful. Everybody in it was awful. I don't really blame her for that, but when she's in a good movie, she can have a good performance that matches those around her. And the acting in this movie was surprisingly sincere and genuine and good. It actually elevated the material that they were working with, which was, like I just said, pretty mediocre. It was every typical rom-com movie mixed with every typical Christmas movie we get anymore, mixed with Doing Time on Maple Drive. And maybe Doing Time on Maple Drive copied a different movie. If it did, I'm not sure. That's just the first movie I've seen like that, and this movie was basically beat for beat the same thing, but not quite as good, at least in script form. Honestly, what made this movie so enjoyable and easy to watch was the throwaway lines from the random characters in the background. As much as I just defended Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis was also fine in this movie, they weren't really given much to work with. It wasn't their fault, but they just didn't really have any characters. Honestly, these two main characters were just placeholders so that whoever was watching it could relate and put themselves in that place. They didn't have any real personality or anything like that, they were kind of bland. But the side characters was where it got entertaining. I especially loved Mary Holland, who played Jane. She was hilarious, and Aubrey Plaza delivered the most believable performance in this movie. Once again, her character didn't have a whole lot of written personality. She had to bring the personality to the table, and she did, and it was great. And that's how I feel about all the cast, honestly. They were all good. I don't feel like I had any right to like this movie. It was by the numbers, it was predictable as hell, and it wasn't particularly well made or different than anything else I'd ever seen, but at the end of the film, I enjoyed it, I smiled, I laughed, I got a little emotional at times. It was good. Like I said, maybe it was just the Christmas spirit, I don't know, but I enjoyed it. It's been done before. It's just taken a bunch of pieces from different things and put it together, but it put it together in an enjoyable way. And it felt like everybody that was part of the process of making this movie was very genuinely invested into this project. Everybody seemed to care. Everybody seemed to be all in on this movie, and you felt it. It felt important. It felt like they cared about it, which seems silly with how silly the plot was and how basic and by the numbers it was, but that's why I got invested, was I felt everybody else was invested. Yes, I've seen this plot before. Yes, I've seen this movie before, but they made it feel real, they made it feel genuine, they made it feel special, and so I cared because it seemed to matter. Good acting, purely genuine performances can make a world of difference. It could be the worst script ever, but if the actors were invested and did a good performance, then I'd probably be at least a little invested. It wasn't anything original or different or special, but I enjoyed it. I think a lot of people are going to relate to the subject matter, and even if they don't, I think they'll be invested anyway because they sympathize with these characters. I don't know what else to say. It was enjoyable, and sometimes that's enough. And yeah, it's predictable, and I personally love stories that I can't predict and don't know where they're going, but sometimes the more predictable and more safe movies, they're fun too. So I enjoyed myself watching this, but what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share, if you're new here, subscribe. Merry Christmas. Bye.